Hey, what's going on here, everybody? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you're all doing well today, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series right here on Football Therapy, where I go across football news, media, consolidate news regarding the beautiful Blues and present it to you guys here in a manageable package, giving you my opinion, but hey, more importantly, asking for yours. And today is a big transfer news video. The information, news and content for this video came from my good friends, the London is Blue podcast. They had big Fabrizio Romano on as a guest. He said a lot of information, and I'm basically going to relay a lot of that for you guys here in today's video. But what I do want to say is, if you are a Chelsea fan, if you're interested in Chelsea Football Club, you really must go and check out the London is Blue podcast. Not only do they have the likes of Fabrizio Romano on, they have my favourite top tier Chelsea journalist on twice a month now, Matt Law. They've got Nizar Kinsella of Goal.com. They've got a whole bunch of cool Chelsea people that guest on their show. I'll leave links in the description to not just their iTunes link, but also their Spotify link. Search the London is Blue podcast wherever you get your pods and go subscribe and check it out. They're a bunch of good guys from the States and I listen to it all the time. Oh yeah. Please do consider subscribing to this YouTube channel as well. Hey, why not? I upload Chelsea content every day and you might enjoy it, so please do consider subscribing, hitting that all important bell notifications icon, and if you want to help me out and do something supportive, please do drop a like on this video. Thank you, friends. Okay, let's get into it. Alright then, so big Fab Romano had a lot to say. First off, Chelsea have had the most immense transfer window, of course, probably the biggest in their history. The most important thing to note is Chelsea's new transfer strategy is one they're trying to match, perhaps like Liverpool had, getting their primary first targets, and they feel like they've done that in every position. Of course, you know, the likes of Ben Chilwell holding in firm for him, and Hakim Ziyech and all the other boys that basically when they've identified a need and a player that suits that need, they hold firm, they go all in, they send the best negotiator in world football in the shape of Marina Granovskaya, and that's how they're looking to achieve success in the transfer window and as a club generally. So with that frame of mind, there is one player left that they would like to secure this transfer window in the same philosophical ethos of primary targets only, and that of course is Declan Rice. Now, West Ham do have some financial trouble, but ultimately this would be an incredibly difficult transfer to get over the line this window. Chelsea have not put in a bid for Declan Rice yet, but in all likelihood they will do so. Fabrizio Romano reiterated they will try. They will try and get Declan Rice this transfer window, as difficult as it is, but to achieve Declan Rice, they do need to make some player sales. Yes, Chelsea had a bunch of money in the bank. Yes, financial fair play might be a bit relaxed, but ultimately they've spent so much money and they need to make some player sales. So let's talk about some possible outgoings. First off, Jorginho. Of course, if Declan Rice does come in to play the CDM role, there might not be space for Jorginho, and although Frank Lampard likes Jorginho, in fact, Frank Lampard likes a lot of his midfielders. Genuinely, he likes loads of them, but he concedes to the fact though, even if you've got a bunch of midfielders that you like, Kovacic, Jorginho, Kante, Mason Mount, etc., if there's no balance and there's no right chemistry, systemic, balancy thing, good words, then it's all pointless. So Frank does want to create a new midfield that offers more balance with the likes of Declan Rice. Anyway, he does like Jorginho, but Chelsea as a club would consider selling him for the right price, and they've valued the Italian-Brazilian at 50 million euros. Problem is, now Maurizio Sarri is no longer at Juventus, they won't go in for him, and there's no real desire for him at the moment in Italy. Of course, Jorginho is quite a specialist player, and you have to play in a type of way to want him. If there's no suitors, Chelsea will remain with Jorginho this season, even though they're happy to sell. Chelsea have too many left backs. Azpilicueta, Alonso, Emerson, Ben Chilwell. Azpi's not actually left back, but he can play left back. Chelsea will sell one of Marcus Alonso or Emerson Palmieri, and it's seemingly obvious that Emerson Palmieri is no longer in Frank Lampard's plans, And even if Ben Chilwell's the more conventional starting left back, Lampard would consider having Alonso as the rotational option and as a very attacking left wing back if Frank turns to the 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 system. So Emerson Palmieri out. Antonio Conte is very interested in Emerson Palmieri. Apparently he was interested in both Alonso and Emerson, but Emerson's the one he wants for his Inter Milan side, so saith big Fabrizio Romano. Inter's a bit of a weird one because Antonio Conte wants a lot of players. They seem to have bought so many new players for him. He uses them, he doesn't use them, but, you know, seemingly he does want Emerson, and if a deal can be struck, then Chelsea will absolutely sell him, but they don't want to undervalue him. It's very, very difficult because everyone knows Chelsea have bought an incredible amount of players, so they're going to try and twist their arm and see Chelsea in a position of vulnerability, perhaps with a pressure point. But big Marina Granovskaya at the helm, she will not budge, and she basically will try and wring out every sort of cent of value in each player. So Emerson Palmieri to Inter, maybe watch this space. Keeping with the theme of players that are not in Frank Lampard's plan, Tammy Bakayoko, he really wants to go back to AC Milan. Milan want the player. I think they'd agree on a loan, but Chelsea want to again maximise as much value as they can out of the deal, and they want Milan to buy Bakayoko after a loan, perhaps an obligation as opposed to an option to buy. I'm not sure the current financial status of Milan, but like a lot of clubs around Europe, they might be struggling. But hey, if they really want Bakayoko, Chelsea might be able to get something over the line, so he plays there. They did appreciate him there. He played some really good football in stints, and like I said, he wants to go back. So hopefully Chelsea can get Bakayoko back to Milan. Right, this next one is a big one. Frank Lampard has said himself, Chelsea have 5 centre-halves. Pretty much insinuating Chelsea have too many centre-backs and one will go either as a sale or a loanee, and seemingly that is between Antonio Rudiger and Fikayo Tomori. Of course, Rudiger was left out of the squad against Liverpool, so eyebrows immediately started to be raised going, well, it's Rudiger. And to be honest, a lot of Chelsea fans would probably be happy with the sale of Rudiger, if you consider all the centre-backs at the club. It's weird because Rudiger played a big part in Kai Havertz and Timo Werner signing for Chelsea, so he's obviously got a good relationship with the Blues and wanted them to come and join Chelsea and strengthen Chelsea. So there's an affinity there, but did he do that while knowing the club want to sell him? Very peculiar indeed, but maybe there's an agreement that, you know, they've got everyone's interests at heart. Maybe Rudiger will go, but also there's Fikayo Tomori, which Chelsea fans might not be happy to hear, but not for a sale, but Fikayo Tomori is being considered for a loan. Fabrizio Romano has spoken to the agents of Tomori and they are waiting to hear from Chelsea Football Club about a potential loan and are prepared for Tomori to go out on loan. Carlo Ancelotti apparently is a great admirer of him, hence the Everton links, which is a really interesting one for me. Of course, Kurt Zouma did so well on loan at Everton. Fikayo Tomori could presumably do the same in what is an excellent team that looks like they could, dare I say, be challenging for the top 4. So who knows, but like I said, a lot of Chelsea fans would probably prefer to keep Tomori at the club and for Chelsea to sell Rudiger. Kepa Arrizabalaga, a very delicate and difficult situation, of course. Chelsea have brought in Edouard Mendy, looking likely to play the first team spot, but apparently Chelsea they'll find it too difficult to even loan out Kepa at the moment, so he will remain at Chelsea Football Club, reportedly to fight for his space with Mendy, and I feel like, although it's suggested that that would actually suit Kepa to show that he's not been thrown out with the trash, to keep him training around the club, to fight his demons, to face the darkness, to maybe get game time and play well again, but Chelsea know that they've got Mendy to play, so they won't feel so vulnerable. And interestingly, we'll see what happens from there. Chelsea don't want to give up on their asset Kepa. It's a gargantuan challenge if you look at how he's performing and how much he costs and what's been happening recently. But Chelsea like challenges and overcoming difficult feats, so maybe they get a player out of Kepa yet. Hopefully. And finally, this is a bit of a strange one for me, but Callum Hudson-Odoi. Apparently Chelsea are considering a loan move for the young player. Maybe Frank Lampard isn't playing winger systems or considering to play a winger system this season so much, because of course that leaves him only with Pulisic and Ziyech, or maybe he plays a winger system when they're both fit, and when they're not, he plays more of a system that we've seen recently. Frank Lampard has vocally said Hudson-Odoi needs to train harder, which is fair enough. If he's not training hard in training, then don't play him. So A lot of fans on Twitter get angry when they don't see him, but of course they do not know what's happening behind the scenes. And if he's not performing in training, if he's got a bad attitude, then ultimately he should not be in this Chelsea side. As much as I love him as a player, he's so talented. I watched his debut at Stamford Bridge with a goal and assist. I love him, but if he hasn't got the right attitude and he's not helping the team in that way, then you have to just say fair enough. So maybe a loan, we'll see what happens. He's got incredibly high wages though. But hopefully it all gets sorted and we see him play this season. That's what we'd all like to see. Anyway, what do you guys think? Get down into the comment section below and express your thoughts and opinions on all these stories today that I've got from the London is Blue podcast, which I must plug again, so you guys should check out because I do love it so much. If you've enjoyed the content, drop a like, subscribe if you're new to Football Therapy, of course. And yeah, mate, enjoy the football and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.